You're engaging in the ELA Guidebooks unit, The Diary of a Young Girl. The purpose of this video is to build our background knowledge about the Holocaust. This will help you make historical connections as you read about a teenage girl, Anne Frank, in The Diary of a Young Girl. Be sure to have your handout available and something to write with for the video. The Holocaust was the persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by the Nazi German government from 1933 to 1945. Persecution is the mistreatment of a group of people who share an ethnicity or religious or political beliefs. The Holocaust was a Nazi German initiative that took place throughout Germany and Axis-controlled Europe. The Axis powers were a coalition headed by Germany, Italy, and Japan that opposed the Allied powers, Great Britain and France, in World War II. With the start of the Second World War, the Nazi regime began realizing its long-standing goal of territorial expansion, leading to the Holocaust. The Holocaust affected nearly all of Europe's Jewish population, which in 1933 numbered 9 million people. The Holocaust began in Germany when Adolf Hitler was appointed chancellor in January 1933 and the Nazi Party took control of the government. A core belief of the Nazi Party was prejudice and hatred against all Jewish people. They blamed Jews for Germany's loss in World War I and the economic problems in Germany afterwards. The Nazis used propaganda to promote their views towards Jewish people. Throughout the 1930s, the treatment of Jewish people in Germany became harsher and violence towards them escalated. Let's take a closer look at some important terms. An annexation is a formal act where a state proclaims its authority over territory outside its domain. An invasion is the movement of an army into a region, usually in a hostile attack, that is part of a war or conflict. An occupation is the military control of a territory. Finally, an alliance is a formal agreement between two or more nations. By 1942, as a result of annexations, invasions, occupations, and alliances, Nazi Germany controlled most of Europe and parts of North Africa. Nazi control brought harsh policies and tortured masses of people during this time. Now you're ready to answer the question, how did the Holocaust begin? Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at the first stop sign, then hit play when you're ready to continue. Let's review. The Holocaust began in Germany when Adolf Hitler was appointed chancellor in January 1933, and the Nazi Party took control of the government. Throughout the 1930s, the treatment of Jewish people in Germany became harsher and violence towards them escalated. The Nazi regime established concentration camps as early as 1933 to imprison anyone who opposed the Nazi government. These concentration camps were designed to hold prisoners in extremely brutal conditions with little space and resources. Between 1933 and 1945, the concentration camps were expanded into a system that included forced labor and death camps. People were transported to these concentration camps by train, car, or forced to walk on foot. The Nazi final solution to the Jewish question was the deliberate and systematic mass murder of Jewish people living in Nazi-controlled Europe. It was the last stage of the Holocaust and took place from 1941 to 1945. Though many Jewish concentration camp prisoners were killed before the final solution began, the vast majority of Jewish victims were murdered during this period. During the time of Nazi Germany, anyone living in Nazi-controlled Europe suspected of being Jewish or hiding Jewish citizens were sentenced to very cruel conditions in concentration camps. Families were separated, food was scarce, living quarters were packed to capacity, and intense labor was expected. The Nazi leaders were instructed to kill masses of prisoners. There were two main methods of killing. Some were shot, and others were sent to poisonous gas chambers. German government met to coordinate the extermination of every Jewish person in Europe. From the start until the end of the war in 1945, the final solution was official Nazi policy and meant only one thing: total extermination of Europe's Jewish population. The Holocaust ended in May 1945 when major Allied powers, Great Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, defeated Nazi Germany in World War II. As Allied forces moved across Europe, they overran concentration camps. There, they liberated the surviving prisoners. Despite Nazi Germany's efforts to murder all the Jewish people living in Europe, there were some Holocaust survivors. Survival took a variety of forms, but in every case, survival was only possible because of extraordinary circumstances, choices, help from others, and sheer luck. Some were able to survive the conditions of the concentration camps, some were able to hide and avoid deportation to camps, and others were able to flee Europe altogether. Approximately 6 million people died during the Holocaust. Now you're ready to describe the result of the Holocaust. Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at the second stop sign. Then hit play when you're ready to continue. Let's review. The Holocaust ended in May 1945. Many survivors faced ongoing threats of violence and displacement. Approximately 6 million people died during the Holocaust. In the aftermath, the world has struggled to come to terms with the horrors of the Holocaust, to remember the victims, and to hold perpetrators responsible. These important efforts remain ongoing. You will use this new knowledge as you engage in the ELA Guidebooks unit, The Diary of a Young Girl. When you finish this video, be sure to turn in your completed handout to your teacher.